Trump's team received prearranged questions for a Fox News town hall from someone within the network, according to a new book. Biden expresses uncertainty about serving an additional 4 years and claims he could have defeated Trump in November.
Trump will receive his sentence for the New York hush money case conviction before his inauguration, as an appeals court confirms the verdict that holds Trump responsible for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. Apple CEO Tim Cook contributes $1 million to Trump's inauguration. AP NORC poll reveals that Republicans' confidence in the accuracy of U.S. elections has increased following Trump's victory. Ukraine halts transit of Russian gas to Europe after a pre-war deal expired. Ukraine says it downed Russian helicopter with sea drone for first time. 1,700 Ukrainian troops equipped by the West Fleet after being trained in France, leaving the rest of their brigade to suffer heavy losses in battle with Putin's forces. Russia rejects Trump's Ukraine peace proposals.
U.S. imposes sanctions on Russian and Iranian entities for election interference attempts. A U.S. Army soldier is detained in connection with extortion schemes targeting AT&T and Verizon. The U.S. is evaluating possible regulations to limit or prohibit Chinese drones.
Whistleblower claims CIA covered up foreign involvement in Havana syndrome attacks in revealing interview. Meanwhile, a Russian court has instructed Yandex to conceal images of an oil refinery following Ukrainian attacks, according to TASS. Additionally, senior officials' laptops were compromised in a U.S. Treasury hack linked to China, as Treasury's sanctions office hacked by Chinese government, officials say, and the Financial Times reports that AI-generated phishing scams are now targeting corporate executives.
Do Kwon has been extradited to the United States to stand trial on charges related to the Terra cryptocurrency's $40 billion collapse. Upon arrival, Do Kwon entered a plea of not guilty to the charges concerning the Terra downfall. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Corporate Transparency Act, which mandates businesses to disclose their owners, has been delayed once more. An appeals court has temporarily halted the enforcement of this anti-money laundering legislation. Additionally, the U.S. government has imposed sanctions on a Chinese government contractor that hired Flax Typhoon hackers. Yellen announces that extraordinary measures to prevent default will commence in mid-January. Tron's T3 unit has confiscated $100 million in illicit USDT within a mere 4 months. Morgan Stanley's E-Trade is considering the possibility of providing crypto trading services.
Hezbollah leader Nasrallah reportedly died last year in the War Operations Room, according to an aide. Germany has decided to withdraw funding from 2 Israeli human rights organizations. Israel facilitated the departure of a former soldier from Brazil due to an investigation into alleged war crimes in Gaza, and Israel has cautioned its troops against using social media following Brazil's request for the soldier regarding Gaza.
Egypt prohibits Syrians from entering the country globally. Syria plans to restart international flights at Damascus airport. French and German foreign ministers hold a meeting with Syria's new leaders, marking the first high-level EU visit since Assad's overthrow.
China might have prevented Putin from deploying nuclear weapons, according to Blinken. India plans to address Chinese dams with the U.S. National Security Advisor during his visit to New Delhi. Chilean president embarks on a groundbreaking journey to the South Pole amid Antarctica sovereignty dispute. 8 months prior, Chilean lawmakers convened in Antarctica to convey territorial assertions to Russia. Venezuela imposes a $10 million fine on TikTok due to fatalities associated with a viral challenge. A significant data breach involving Volkswagen has revealed the travel patterns of 800,000 electric vehicle owners, tracking their movements from residences to various locations, including brothels. According to Wall Street Journal, in China, the elusive crime boss connected to billion-dollar pig butchering scams has been identified, and it is reportedly that the downfall of a Philippine mayor may be connected to Chinese gangs. FX Collaborative is set to create a new purpose-built home for the Climate Museum at Hudson Yards. New York City has introduced congestion pricing, which has been met with both enthusiasm and criticism. A controversial new timescape theory suggests that dark energy does not exist, as it cannot be causing the lumpy universe to expand, according to a study.
In Saudi Arabia, SRC and Has Sanaa introduced mortgage-backed securities to enhance real estate investment. Chinese venture capitalists compel unsuccessful founders to be added to the debtor blacklist. Bloomberg notes, fintechs increase advertising expenditures to attract a broader audience.
Elon Musk questions whether America should free the British people in a heated critique of the UK government. Following Musk's comments, UK Prime Minister Starmer condemns those propagating falsehoods and misinformation on the internet. Farage and Musk engage in a verbal battle after Musk suggests the reform leader should resign. Recently, Musk claims Farage lacks the necessary qualities to lead Reform UK. Austrian president considers a far-right. China confirms communication between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump since the U.S. election. Observations suggest the EU confronts a triple threat from Elon Musk, a far-right activist, and Trump's right-hand man. A Shine representative avoids addressing a China cotton inquiry in a UK hearing, while a Shine lawyer is accused of willful ignorance regarding cotton associated with forced Uyghur labor. North Korea launches its second missile test within 2 days, coinciding with Blinken's regional visit, and asserts it was a hypersonic missile. Serbia introduces the Fk-3 air defense system, a prominent export from China. A drone found in the Philippines prompts demands for increased U.S. military presence.
Telegram has provided U.S. authorities with data on numerous users. 3 months ago, it was reported that Telegram will now disclose your phone number and IP if you're considered a criminal suspect. Additionally, TikTok is reportedly encouraging users to switch to Lemonade as the possibility of a ban approaches. Furthermore, Meta is reportedly discontinuing its fact-checking program in favor of implementing a community note system, which is akin to the one used by X.
Venezuela, Paraguay break relations over President Peña's support for opposition. Venezuela says 125 foreigners, including one Israeli, arrested on suspicion of being U.S. mercenaries. Tensions rise in Venezuela as opposition leader González asks military to end Maduro's reign, and Venezuela military affirms loyalty to Maduro amid González coup calls. UN says Iran executed over 900 people in 2024, including dozens of women. Immigration ranks as a top priority for Americans compared to the previous year, according to an AP NORC poll. Singapore imposes additional regulations on business groups based on race. Indonesia becomes a full member of the BRICS bloc, as announced by Brazil. China plans to offer subsidies for smartphone purchases to boost consumer spending. Meanwhile, in the U.S., a Utah lawsuit alleges that TikTok was aware its live streams targeted children. Additionally, free speech organizations and members of Congress are appealing to the Supreme Court to protect TikTok, based on the First Amendment. Former President Trump has also requested the Supreme Court to temporarily halt the law that could lead to TikTok's ban, suggesting a negotiated resolution be pursued by his administration.
Backpack Exchange, established by former FTX and Alameda staff, has taken over FTX EU. It is said that an increasing number of companies are purchasing Bitcoin, focusing on potential benefits rather than drawbacks. At CES 2025, Bitcoin miner Canaan will introduce mining rigs designed for use as home heaters.
Gemini, owned by the Winklevoss twins, will pay $5 million to settle a CFTC case. Bitcoin miners are accumulating coins to endure a profit reduction. Bank of America's CEO stated on Fox that the bank is conducting all internal transactions with XRP and holds 83 patents. China plans to provide subsidies for rice cookers and microwaves to increase their sale. Meanwhile, British luxury car manufacturer Rolls-Royce reports a surge in demand for custom-made models driven by the ultra-wealthy. Additionally, the world's most expensive car license plate was sold for $15 million in Dubai.
Apple is prohibited from selling the iPhone 16 in Indonesia, according to the minister, despite reaching an investment agreement. Lenovo's Yoga Slim 9i is the first Windows laptop to feature an under-display camera. Samsung is introducing a paid subscription service for its AI-powered smartphones.
Trump criticizes Britain's decision to impose a windfall tax on North Sea oil producers, calling it a significant error. The Biden administration introduces exemptions in its new climate regulations for hydrogen energy. Economists warn that Donald Trump's Maganomics could harm economic growth, according to FT polls. Trump incorrectly associates New Orleans terror attack with migrants following inaccurate Fox News report. Biden states Islamic State-inspired driver intended to kill before fatal New Orleans rampage. Sources claim Matthew Livelsberger's wife ended their relationship days before the explosion outside Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. A source reveals the driver who detonated a Tesla Cybertruck at Trump Hotel in Las Vegas was an active-duty Army Green Beret. Officials report the soldier shot himself in the head before the Cybertruck exploded outside Trump's Las Vegas hotel. Police confirm suspects in Vegas explosion and New Orleans attack were stationed at the same Army base.
Judge pushes CFTC trial with Gemini to January 21st. FBI releases new video and evidence in D.C. pipe bomb case, still unsolved 4 years later. Biden awards Liz Cheney a presidential medal for challenging January 6th attack, as Biden awards the second highest civilian award to leaders of the January 6th committee and 18 others, where Biden awards Winter, Bono, and Soros with Medal of Freedom. Austrian liberals withdraw from coalition discussions, causing significant disruption. Palestinian Authority temporarily halts the broadcast of Qatar's Al Jazeera TV. Iran informs Italy of its intention to exchange prisoners for an imprisoned Italian journalist.
China's short video user base decreases by 300 million as the market reaches its peak. Alipay integrates AI image search to strengthen its super app position in competition with Tencent's WeChat. In the United States, a federal appeals court blocks net neutrality rules concerning corporate influence over internet speeds. Nazi connections to Credit Suisse were more extensive than previously understood, as disclosed by concealed documents. Honduras warns of expelling the U.S. military amid preparations for Trump-era deportations in Latin America. Ghana invites the African diaspora to return, leading some Black Americans to acquire its citizenship. In India, draft data rules require parents' consent for children to have social media accounts. Washington Post editorial cartoonist claims she left after management refused her Donald Trump sketch. Citi and Bank of America announced their withdrawal from the Global Climate Banking Alliance. Jimmy Carter's funeral is considered a potential target for violent extremists, according to a security assessment. Donald Trump is upset about the flag being flown at half-staff to honor Jimmy Carter during the inauguration, as Jimmy Carter's 6 days funeral commences with a motorcade through South Georgia. Louis Farrakhan lost a defamation and First Amendment lawsuit against the Anti-Defamation League and others 9 months ago. He had initially sued Jewish leaders for $4.8 billion, but a judge dismissed the case. Neil Young is avoiding Glastonbury due to concerns about corporate control. China asserts that its military 5G base station is the first globally capable of linking 10,000 robots across any terrain. Meanwhile, Russia has reportedly discovered secret war plans aimed at 160 locations in Japan and South Korea. In South Korea, President Yoon's team argues for immunity from insurrection charges, referencing a Trump ruling. This led to a tense standoff, where South Korean presidential guards blocked the arrest of the impeached Yoon. However, 3 days prior, a South Korean court had approved the arrest of President Yoon as part of a martial law investigation.
Steve Bannon enters conflict against Elon Musk amid MAGA disintegration. Musk labels MAGA faction contemptible fools as a virtual civil war develops. Far-right activist Laura Loomer alleges her suspension on X by Elon Musk.
CNN faces trial regarding its report claiming an illegal market for Afghan rescue operations. The United States plans to relax aid restrictions for Syria in a limited gesture of support for the new government. Former President of France Sarkozy is on trial for alleged campaign financing provided by Libya's Gaddafi.
Venezuelan opposition leader, who asserts victory over Maduro, to meet Biden at the White House. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau may announce his resignation as soon as Monday, according to the Globe and Mail. Pope Francis appoints the first woman to a senior Vatican diplomatic position.
Bloomberg reports that Trump is considering clemency for the January 6th rioters, as Congress is about to ratify his election victory. Former Capitol Police officers have labeled Trump's promises to pardon the rioters as a betrayal. 2 months ago, Trump referred to January 6th as Day of Love when questioned about the Capitol riot. The U.S. Department of Justice has announced that 200 cases related to January 6 are pending as Trump prepares to reclaim the presidency. UK government warned of increasing bid rigging risk in public contracts by CMA. Italy announces $1.6 billion SpaceX telecom security services agreement, with PM Meloni unexpectedly visiting Mar-a-Lago to meet Trump, who praises her as a fantastic woman during her Florida visit. India proposes approximately $3 billion in aid and tariff reductions for electronics.
Greenland's Prime Minister advocates for independence from Denmark, influenced by Trump's interest. President Biden prevents a $14 billion purchase of U.S. steel by Japan's Nippon Steel, leading to condemnation from both Nippon Steel Corporation and U.S. Steel for the U.S. government's unlawful decision to block the proposed acquisition. Taiwan suggests making it illegal for a political party to focus on unification with mainland China.
Trump does not dismiss the possibility of using military or economic measures to increase U.S. territory, criticizing Carter's Panama Canal Agreement. Trump threatens new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and the EU, and possibly on Denmark, indicating economic rather than military action to incorporate Canada. A French minister states that the EU will not tolerate border attacks following Trump's remarks on Greenland. Green vows to introduce a bill to rename the Gulf of Mexico ASAP, while Trump contemplates changing it to Gulf of America. The Mexican president affirms that the Gulf of Mexico name is globally acknowledged. U.S. envoy announces full withdrawal of Israeli army from South Lebanon. U.S. plans to eliminate obstacles to civil nuclear collaboration with India. North Korea prohibits hot dogs as part of a crackdown on treasonous American food.
Trump's team received prearranged questions for a Fox News town hall from someone within the network, according to a new book. Biden expresses uncertainty about serving an additional 4 years and claims he could have defeated Trump in November. Bolsonaro seeks the return of his passport to participate in Trump's inauguration. The UN reports that more than 12,300 civilians have been killed since the Ukraine war began. A high-ranking aide to Assad attributes Syria's downfall partly to a trick by Putin. Trump asserts that he understands Russia's perspective on Ukraine and plans to meet with Putin in the next 6 months.
The United States has declared that the Sudanese rebel group has committed acts of genocide and has consequently imposed sanctions on its leaders. Additionally, the U.S. has sanctioned a key aide to Hungary's Prime Minister Orbán due to suspected corruption. Meanwhile, Iran has withdrawn the majority of its forces from Syria, which is a significant setback to Tehran's regional ambitions. Furthermore, China has constructed a remarkably compact atomic clock, the size of a refrigerator, designed for precise military operations.
Burdens of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease attributable to sugar-sweetened beverages in 184 countries. ADHD symptoms can fluctuate with a menstrual cycle. Study claims sex differences in brain structure present at birth.
Study suggests that while tip pressure can be effective immediately, it may deter customers from coming back. OHSU study indicates that receiving rehabilitation earlier can enhance concussion recovery outcomes. Hideki Matsuyama establishes a PGA Tour record for score to par in his triumph at the Century.
In the United States, 26% of individuals intend to incorporate GLP-1 medications into their objectives for 2025, with Gen Z accounting for 37% of this group. An ancient wine, believed to be the oldest in the world, has been unearthed containing a surprising additional component, the ashes of a man. Fatty acid amides found in camembert cheese have shown to enhance cognitive function in mice following oral intake. A study has validated that Egyptians consumed hallucinogenic drinks during ancient rituals. Research indicates that a genetic predisposition to schizophrenia is associated with an abnormally shaped skull. Exposure to environmental radiation at Corneville has not consistently impacted the genomes or chemical mutagen tolerance traits of local worms.
Octopuses possess the skills to establish a future civilization if humans become extinct, according to a scientist. In a maze experiment, ants demonstrated better group problem-solving abilities than humans. Modern chimpanzees and ancient humans exhibit comparable patterns in choosing stone tools. A survey reveals that half of the anime industry's workforce exceeds 225 hours per month. The UN cautions that the anime industry could collapse if these problems remain unresolved. Meanwhile, Notch hints at developing Minecraft 2 and expresses interest in creating a roguelike game. Additionally, Carmen Sandiego made a comeback in a new educational app 3 months ago, and a Carmen Sandiego game has been announced for Netflix, Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch.
Half-Life 3 rumors intensify following a cryptic tweet from the G-Man voice actor, marking his first in years. Samsung and Google are set to introduce a new spatial audio format in 2025, competing with Dolby Atmos. Hisense has unveiled a new 4K laser TV series, featuring displays up to 150 inches and 6.2.2 channels of Dolby Atmos sound.
More than 180 David Hockney prints come to Palm Springs Art Museum. The Christo and Jean-Claude Foundation, together with the Shed, Central Park Conservancy, NYC Parks, and Bloomberg Philanthropies, celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Gates. YouTube testing a Play Something floating action button on Android. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, the stars of Deadpool and Wolverine, are unlikely to attend the Golden Globes. Meanwhile, Jason Momoa is set to portray Lobo in the upcoming film Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Additionally, the FBI has issued